Mayor, the meeting is now live streaming.
Thank you so much for that, City Clerk. The meeting will now reconvene at 6:08 p.m. City Attorney, please provide the closed session report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. The City Council is now back in open session, having met in closed session to discuss the 2 items listed on the agenda.
Vamos a darle la bienvenida a los participantes en la reunión del Consejo Municipal
One
y
moment,
las
please.
agencias sucesoras.
Like, Stephanie, you're speaking Spanish?
Thank you. You may
Oh.
proceed.
I'm sorry.
My accent changed a little bit.
Hay que hacerlo en español, pues.
Staff provided a report for both items listed on the agenda, but no reportable action was taken for either. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Esto concluye mi informe.
Okay.
City Clerk, did you catch that report?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just making sure that the city manager can verify that we're good to go on the audio. Alrighty then. If there's no objection by the City Council, I will adjourn the closed session City Council meeting at 6:09 p.m. And good evening and welcome to the February 10th, 2025, 6 p.m. regular joint meeting of the Bell Garden City Council and Successor Agency to the Community Development Commission. The meeting will now come to order at 6:09 p.m. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting live online through the city's website as noted on the agenda. If any member of the council should have a conflict of interest, please announce any item you are recusing yourself due to the conflict prior to the item being heard. Tonight's invocation will be given by Pastor Leal and Pledge of Allegiance will be led by myself.
Good evening, Mr. Chavez, Mayor, and the rest of the council, men and women, our attorney, our representative from the police department, and all the great staff that we have here in the city of Bell Gardens. It's always an honor to be here and see each one of you. I just want to let you know that all of you are in our prayers. We pray that God this year will just bless him with a lot of wisdom and grace. I know we're living in hard times, times of uncertainties, times that are not easy, and it's not easy to be a leader. But I want you to remind each one of you what Proverbs 18:10 says, and I'll read it to you. It says, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteousness should run to it and be safe." So it doesn't matter, how difficult things seem. There's always a place for us in Jesus and God. So as we run to him, as we pray, let us just be filled by his peace and by his grace. Not only you as the leaders, but also our community, our state, our country. May God be with us. So if I can ask you to just bow your heads and remember, as we pray, we come into the presence of God. Father, we just want to thank you for the great leadership of this city. I want to thank you for each one of them. Father, we know we're living in hard times, times of uncertainty, times, Father, when people don't feel safe. But thank you that we have you, that we can run to you. You're always there for us. So I put this meeting in your hands. May you bless this meeting with your presence, with your grace, and with your power. Father, we ask this in the precious name of Jesus, and can we say amen? Thank you.
Thank you for that, Pastor Leal. We may all rise. Moving right along, City Clerk, please call roll call of the City Council Successor Agency.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the Council and Successor Agency, Barcena.
Present.
Councilwoman Guillen.
Present.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem de la Rosa.
Present.
And Mayor Chavez.
Present. Thank you for that, City Manager. Moving on to presentations.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Chavez. The first presentation we have is the Certificate of Recognition for Eva's Cookery. With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor.
Thank you so much for that, City Manager. If I can, I would like to invite the family of Eva's Cookery, Eva's Restaurant, to come forward to the dais. like to begin. Ahí el frente está bien, in the front está bien. Before I read the certificate, I want to say thank you for coming, for being in our city, for all your contributions since 1989, if that's correct. And you have delicious food. Es el lugar de los chilaquiles, which I like to always say. And it's awesome to have you here. So I'm going to read the certificate, and then after I'll open it for my colleagues, and then after I'll allow you to speak, and then we can take a picture afterwards. Great. Awesome. So on behalf of the City of Bell Garden, Certificate of Recognition honoring Eva's Cookery, the Bell Garden City Council is honored to recognize Eva's Cookery. We congratulate you on your successful business, your casual restaurant, and delicious, authentic food, and we wish you much success and prosperity in all your future endeavors. Signed, Jorel Chavez, Mayor of the Bell Garden City, and with Mayor of Bell Gardens, along with the Bell Garden City Council, back in January 27th, 2025. And then we also have a couple of different certificates from Congressman Robert Garcia, who says, in honor of creating a more vibrant and prosperous City of Bell Gardens through your flavorful cuisine, I applaud you for your commitment to our residents, and I wish you many years of continued success. Thank you for your contributions to our cultural and culinary fabric of our nation, presented to Eva's Cookery. We also have a certificate from Assemblywoman Blanca Pacheco, Certificate of Recognition, Eva's Cookery. On behalf of the California State Assembly, I am honored to join the City of Bell Gardens in recognizing you for your generosity and commitment to the community. Your donations of delicious Mexican cuisine meals have made a meaningful impact on the health and well-being of residents. Congratulate you and best wishes on your continued success. And then finally, we have a certificate from State Senator Lina Gonzalez, and it says, in celebration and recognition of your 35 years in business at the City of Bell Gardens, your unwavering commitment to serving exceptional American and Mexican cuisine has enriched our community and brought people together over the joy of good food. Your dedication to quality, hospitality, and cultural traditions is truly commendable. On behalf of the 33rd Senate District, I wish you further success. And I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of our community. You are an exemplary stakeholder within our city. I appreciate, the times that I go, I almost go on 3 times a week almost to go eat in this establishment. And I love having meeting with people there because you're very early at 7 in the morning, 6 and 6:30 in the morning. You guys are open. So I'm just very thankful to have you here in the city. And I said, by all means, you deserve to be recognized, not only today, but so on in the future. I wanted to open up to my colleagues. If anybody wants to share some words, I think I might have had some breakfast or lunches or dinners in there with some of my colleagues there. So by all means, I'd like to have my colleagues share some words.
Absolutely. I agree with Jorgel. The chilaquiles are a must at Eva's Cookery. If you think about it, it's very beautiful that for over 3 decades you guys have brought, Eva's Cookery has brought together, families and, provided everyone with a warm hospitality. And that's beautiful. You brought everyone together, at that location. So congratulations and wish you all the best in the future.
Gracias por estar en nuestra comunidad. Igual que mis compañeros, que el alcalde, sus platillos son muy ricos, exquisitos y caseros. Por eso gracias por compartir con nuestra comunidad. Y ya sé, los domingos siempre están así, después de las misas, ¿verdad? Pero gracias y lo mejor en lo que les espere.
Thank you so much for having your business here in Bell Gardens. I always say that it's businesses like yours that help our community thrive. Not only bringing revenue to you, but also having people visit our, restaurants here. They always ask, like, what are some of the most popular restaurants in Bell Gardens? And you're on the top of the list, every single time we say that. So thank you so much for your continued support to our community.
Thank you.
Pues muchas gracias, igual que mis colegas, les quiero dar las gracias por poner el ejemplo a nuestra comunidad de negocios y por el servicio que ofrecen. Hace mucho que no voy, pero a mí me gustaban los chilaquiles rojos con pollo y son los mejores. No le digan a los otros restaurantes, por favor, pero sí son los que me gustaron más y los felicito por ya 30 años de estar aquí en la comunidad y trabajando duro, porque al principio cuando entré no los reconocí bien, pero luego ya me acordé, sí, son de Eva's Cookery y me da mucho gusto tenerlos aquí de vecinos. Y gracias por su trabajo en la ciudad.
Gracias.
Por favor, los invito si quieren decir unas palabras.
Somos malos para decir palabras. Tenemos miedo escénico. pero sí apreciamos mucho su reconocimiento y también de toda la comunidad que nos ha apoyado todos estos años. Hemos pasado por incendio, y todo mundo siempre ha estado ahí para nosotros. Gracias.
Una pregunta, ¿quién es Eva?
Ella tuvo el restaurante 9 años, es hermana de nosotros. Y nosotros se lo compramos a ella.
Decidieron quedarse con el nombre.
Sí, ajá.
Nice. No, pues felicidades de nuevo.
Gracias.
Los invito aquí enfrente para tomarnos una foto. Gracias. All right. Well, thank you again for that certificate of recognition. Moving along to Black History Month proclamation, I'd like to pass it over to Councilwoman Frances de Leon Sanchez.
Thank you, Mayor. A proclamation in honor of Black History Month, whereas each February, National Black History Month serves as both a celebration and a powerful reminder that Black history is American history, Black culture, and is American culture. And Black stories are essential to the ongoing story of America, our faults, our struggles, our progress, and our aspirations. Whereas our nation was founded on the idea that all of us are created equal and deserve to be treated with equal dignity throughout our lives. And whereas in the face of wounds, obstacles older than our nation itself, Black Americans can be seen in every part of our society today, strengthening and uplifting all America, leading industries and movements for change, serving our communities and our nation at every level, advancing every field across the board, including in the arts and sciences, businesses and law, health and education, and many more. Whereas, let us carry forward the work to build an America that is, in the beautiful words of the poet Amanda Gorman, bruised but whole, beholden but bold, fierce and free. Now, therefore, it be resolved that Jorge Chavez, Mayor of City of Bell Gardens, with the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2025 and annual thereafter as Black History Month in the City of Bell Gardens, and urge all citizens to celebrate the diversity of the Black community while continuing our efforts to fight the equality, opportunities, and dignity to which every Black American is due in equal measure. Proclaim this 10th day of February 2025, signed by our Mayor, Jorge Chavez. And here's a proclamation.
All right, thank you so much for that, Councilwoman Frances de Leon Sanchez. Moving along to public participation on non-agenda items. City Clerk, please announce further instructions.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the public, we will now have an opportunity to speak on items not listed on the agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes, subject to an overall 30-minute period. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone, and when instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining through Zoom may make a request for a comment by using the raise hand feature and select the unmute or microphone icon when instructed. We will first hear from speakers that are in person, and we did not receive any written communication.
Thank you for that, City Clerk. I'd like to call up BC.
Good evening. Back for more levity. I'm always proud to bring diversity to the conversation. I'm sure you're all inclusive and willing to accept my diverse ideologies and narratives and American first patriotism instead of the divisive and degrading commentary and narratives that Democratic Party death cult members bring to the table. I'm here to go 180 degrees opposite of that direction, and I encourage you all that are participating on the dark side, is where the Democrat Party is to come out to the light and join the rest of us. You're welcome. It's a new day in America. There's a new sheriff in town, and everybody's happy except some of you up here. But I couldn't help but notice there were no authentic writings as far as the resolutions go or anything like that. Those are all AI generated. It would be great if we could hear some authenticity from human beings instead of plagiarized typewritten speeches for real people running real businesses like Eva's Cookery. I mean, they've been working there for quite a long time, and I think they deserve a little bit better. But if you really want to show your appreciation, I think you ought to get off of your high taxation, big government bureaucracies and start lowering the taxation for your businesses in the city. Make it easier for them to thrive. I mean, we're going to use the terms like thrive and things like that, but yet the pastor tells us there's a lot of pain. People are afraid. Well, that's quite the opposite of thriving. So you need to be more business friendly and be sincere about it. And you could start by being more sincere by writing the resolutions yourselves instead of spewing the key words into an AI machine and spewing them out at the council meetings just so you get a notice on the camera with pointless platitudes. But I'm going to encourage you to move out of the darkness. You have a failed governor, a failed county rep, we have a failed congressman from Long Beach, whom you've mentioned here. You've mentioned here tonight, a failed state assembly member, and don't worry, over in Downey, where I live now, we have failed Democrats there as well. Come out of the darkness, lower the taxation, lower the regulations for businesses, and follow the law and order that needs to be followed to make it a safe place. Thank you.
No objection by the members of the City Council. Successor agency, I will close public participation for non-agenda items. City Clerk, please announce instructions for public participation on agenda items.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items listed on the agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone, and when instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining through Zoom may make a comment by using the raise hand feature and select the unmute or microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from members of the public that are physically present in the chamber. We did not receive any written communication.
Thank you for that, City Clerk. I'd like to call up BC.
Again, in the words of Pauly Shore, I'm back real quick. 9.6, and I talked about adding the bureaucracy, which is what you liberal progressive Democrats death cult Democrats is all you're concerned with. You're not about solutions. You don't know how to solve anything. You can't run anything. And up and down the state, the county, cities, it's obvious where you are in charge, you can't run anything properly. As I always say, you could run the Sahara Desert and there'd be a shortage of sand within 6 months, and that's a true statement. 9.6, another example, addition of the senior records clerk classification. All you're doing is adding more bureaucratic bloat. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. Trim the government like Doge. This new president we got, putting people in there, showing us the corruption, the waste, fraud, and abuse. And it's you Democrats that are screaming the loudest when it's being exposed. And then you spread lies about how, they're going to steal your Social Security and they're going to steal your Medicare. No, they're not. They're just telling you where the money has been going. And it's Republicans involved with it too. They're not exempt from it. So when they're sending billions of dollars over to Ukraine, $170 billion, and he claims he only has 57 billion of it. Well, where'd the rest of it go? I tell you where it went. It laundered back into their pockets. That's where it went. And that's what's being exposed right now. So shrink the government, make it more efficient, something that you just cannot do. Number 9.7, purchase of a DUI traffic trailer. Now that would be worthwhile if you were going to cooperate with this president's mass deportation program, which is an old program. It's called Secure Communities. So if you pull somebody over or somebody is found to be inebriated and can't drive and they're an illegal alien, they should be deported. Also, they should be turned over to ICE for deportation. And anybody that wants to stand on a corner and say that I'm here to protect these people, you're just as guilty of the crimes that they commit initially of just coming into the country illegally. So I encourage you to have the city manager direct the chief of police to cooperate with the federal authorities and follow the rule of law.
All right, moving along. If there's no objection by the members of City Council, I will close public participation on agenda items. City Manager, please give your report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Chavez. Just going backwards a couple weeks, on January 28th, the police department held a neighborhood watch meeting at Marlowe Park. It was a little bit cold out, but heavily attended. Captain Mesquise, who's holding down the fort for the chief, is here today, and he was there that night as well. Don't think there were any seats available. Approximately 30 attendees. A lot of questions about issues regarding immigration status and things of that nature. So well attended. On January 29th, on Wednesdays, we had our art studio experience at Veterans Park. So that's every Wednesday at 6 p.m. On January 30th, here at City Hall in the EOC at 5:30, we had climate action plan meeting to gather input from the community. There were several staff members, former council member that were here as well, giving their ideas from the climate action perspective. This going on a forward basis, this Wednesday, February 12th, our Community Family Services Center is going to be hosting an immigration resource workshop at Ross Hall at 6 p.m. That way, basically to provide services so residents can find legal assistance, programs, essential services. And also on that subject matter, the city has produced banners that you'll see throughout the city, similar to how we announce community events that are upcoming for immigration support. If you watch our social media, you'll see from Recreation Community Services, from the city and from the police department, additional services that are being advertised. If you see on the 710 billboards, also similar to the banners, and also announcing additional services. The city was able to obtain 5,000 red cards that have been placed on all of the city public counters. So that's at Public Works, Neighborhood Youth Center, Veterans Park, Forward Park, City Hall, Police Department, Community Development Desk. then also been provided to council members to pass out as necessary as well. And then moving forward, on this Monday, February 7th is President's Day, so City Hall will be closed on President's Day. Thank you for all the staff members in the police department, in Public Works, Recreation Community Services, up the street at the fire department, for continuing to work on those holidays to make sure everybody's safe and everything is in order in the city. Next Tuesday here at City Hall, we have our property owner workshop at 4 p.m. Also next Tuesday, February 18th, is another Neighborhood Watch meeting at 6 p.m. This one's going to be at Ross Hall. So we anticipate there be a lot of people there and a lot of similar questions and concerns. February 19th, which is Wednesday, tenant workshop here at City Hall at 4 p.m. And then the final one I just want to make note of is Friday, February 21st. So that's not this Friday, but next Friday is the Resident Art and Yard Sale, which is every Friday at 11 a.m. And this one will also feature the farmers market that the council heard about at the last meeting. And then I'll just close with two items on the consent calendar, both of them police department related. One was a purchase with grant funding of a DUI traffic trailer to provide safety for residents. The other item is a reclassification of a position within the police department to allocate a vacant lead dispatcher to a senior records clerk, which is more in line with the needs of the department, and it does save $21,000 per year with that allocation from the one position to the other. There's a cost savings. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much for that, City Manager. Moving on to consent calendar, does any member of the council, successor agency wish to pull an item for separate discussion? See none, can I have a motion, please?
Move to approve 9.1 to 9.7.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember De Leon Sanchez, second by Councilwoman Guillen. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the council and successor agency, Barcena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Guillen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem de la Rosa,
Yes.
and Mayor Chavez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you for that. Moving on to discussion item 10.1, local commissions appointment. Does any member of the council have any appointments or changes to a local commission?
Yes. I'd like to, for the Planning Commission, Georgielis Monroy. And then for the Recreation, Cultural, and Youth Commission, it would be Mr. Christian Sanchez.
Anybody else want to add or change commission members? Okay. All right.
So as a note, I do have two positions open, and I'm working very hard to fill them ASAP so we can have quorum in our commissions. But thank you.
Likewise, I'm in the same position. I have a couple of commissions that I need to appoint. So yeah, I will try to get on it for the next meeting. Any more changes? All right, seeing none, can we get a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
All right. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem de la Rosa, second by Councilwoman De Leon Sanchez. Can we get a roll call?
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council and successor agency, Barcena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Guillen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem de la Rosa,
Yes.
and Mayor Chavez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you for that, City Clerk. Moving on to 10.2, City Manager.
Yes, thank you again, Mayor Chavez. This item is at the request, actually, of the mayor a couple weeks ago, to bring an item forth to the council to discuss the existing holiday decorations that the city has on the city property and on city right-of-ways at city facilities, and to present some options for potentially additional decorations that we may be able to implement for the next holiday season. So our Public Works Director, Bernie Iniguez, has a presentation to go through some of the potential options. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you, Mr. O'Kelly. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. I'll wait for the presentation to be called up. For background, the City Council directed staff to bring forward this item as the City Manager discussed. Currently, the city's holiday decoration program consists of the following. We have a holiday tree in the front of City Hall. We have a holiday tree inside the City Hall lobby. as well as holiday lights. We plant poinsettias in the City Hall front lawn, and we also place holiday lights around the pine trees here at the front of City Hall and also on the parkway. At Veterans Park, we have the main holiday tree at the Veterans Memorial, and we also have a small holiday tree inside Ross Hall, inside the lobby there. We also place holiday lights on the Ross Hall building itself. We also have a holiday tree inside the Ford Park Administration Building lobby, as well as a holiday tree in the Neighborhood Youth Center, along with holiday lights that are placed there as well. And then we also have holiday trees inside the lobbies at the Clara Senior Center and also at the Public Works Maintenance Yard. We also place holiday banners on our landscape medians. Those go on the banner poles, place around 80 to 90 banners in all. And these are located on Eastern Avenue from Garfield Avenue to Watcher Street, and also on Florence Avenue from Eastern Avenue to the east city limits. This slide shows some photographs of our existing decorations that we place. On the left, we see the banners that we place on our center median islands, along with the holiday trees that we place at various facilities. The slide before you illustrates a map of where the existing decorations lie within the city. The red line depicts the center median islands where the banners go, and then you see squares and circles for the actual facilities where we place additional holiday decorations. In regard to potential alternatives, one alternative is LED lighting displays on streetlight poles. These would be LED lights, which are highly energy efficient, thereby reducing energy consumption and associated cost. However, approval from Southern California Edison, or SCE, would be required since the city does not own the streetlight poles. If SCE approves, this process would then incur permit fees, as well as cost to run power to the actual decorations, and also the cost to procure the decorations themselves. So here at the bottom, we see a couple photos of some sample decorations that could be utilized. The next alternative is installing banner poles with electrical power to hang holiday decorations with LED lights. This will require the city to procure and install 2 metal poles with guy wires, and also to run electrical power and meters, along with the purchase of the actual holiday decorations. This option would be costly, at a rough estimate of approximately $90,000 to $100,000 per location. And as was discussed, this will require the electrical service and meters. So here at the bottom left, we see an example from the City of Commerce. So they have the 2 poles with their guy wire. Right now, they're just hanging a typical banner, but during the holidays, they do run a lit decoration. On the bottom, we see the example from the City of Cudahy, same concept with the 2 poles and guy wire. And here at the top, I included a photo showing an example of the types of decorations that would be included with this alternative. The next option is LED lights for tree trunks along our landscape median islands that contain trees. This option can either be traditional LED lights, which run traditional power, or we can pursue a solar-powered LED option. With the traditional lights, this will require the installation of electricity at each tree. For the solar power lights, these would not require electricity. These are self-sufficient. However, weather may impact their performance because if it's cloudy, the batteries may not charge sufficiently. The last option we have here is incorporating additional holiday-themed banners. These would go along Gage Avenue and along Garfield Avenue. Right now, we do not have banner poles there. In comparison to the other options, this option would be the most budget or cost-effective, and it would allow for more variety with designs and themes that can be utilized. So here on the bottom, again, we show some examples of the different types of banners that we can procure. The slide before you shows a map. These are lines showing the potential where we can put these additional decorations. So the blue line is where we can place the additional banners, again on Gage and also on Garfield. The green line illustrates the potential location for the holiday lights on tree trunks. and these would actually run down our landscape median islands. The yellow line illustrates the streetlight pole locations. And again, this is predicated on Edison giving us the approval and the permit to go ahead and install on their apparatus. And then the orange line shows banner poles with electricity. So we can go ahead and procure and install banner poles wherever you see the orange. And again, we would have to also sample or core the concrete to make sure that it can withstand the load of new banner poles and the wind loads when we put decorations. In conclusion, expanding the city's holiday decorations requires careful consideration for budgetary implications, including the initial investment, ongoing maintenance costs, and also exploring diverse funding sources to ensure a sustainable and impactful program. In regard to fiscal impact, the cost to install the current holiday decorations is approximately $18,000 per year. This excludes staff time, and the cost to install any additional holiday decorations would be determined once an option is selected for further assessment. It is staff's recommendation that the City Council direct staff to assess the feasibility of expanding holiday decoration options or receive and file this report. So with that concludes my presentation, and I will be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Bernie, I wonder if it's helpful if we leave the presentation up maybe with the map that had the 4 color-coded options there, and maybe if I could just confirm for the council, it seems like it's maybe not on purpose, but somewhat in the lower cost to higher cost order, give or take. So you have additional holiday banners, I think kind of on the lower cost of things, gives us a lot of options. Holiday lights on the tree trunks, those would be, like you mentioned, potentially solar option. Some issues if it's a cloudy day. Street light pole LED displays, a little more expensive because you still need utilities there and electricity. And same thing with the banner poles with the electricity. Is that fair? I know it's
That's
maybe
correct.
not exactly in order of cost, but give or take.
Can you repeat that again, Mike? Sorry about that. Which was the order?
Just the way that the slide is shown there, the first one's additional holiday banners, which are the dark purple up along Gage and then coming down Garfield. Somewhat low cost. Holiday lights on tree trunks, which are that bluish kind of green color. Yeah. Coming down, Bernie, that's on Eastern. I can't tell if that's green or turquoise. Coming down Eastern, going across Florence. That greenish color is the holiday lights on the tree trunks,
Correct.
right, on our current medians, and then also coming down Garfield. So those, seems like there's a lot of coverage there. And then the street light pole LED displays and the banner poles, just because of the need for electricity and the fact that we don't own the street light poles, those are probably the more cost prohibitive items. Not that they're not doable. We'd probably need to do some work to come back with hard costs on it, but they would be somewhat significant in the tens to maybe upward of $100,000 to fully do what you're displaying there.
That's correct. It'd be $90,000 to $100,000 per set of 2 poles with guy wire and the decoration.
And Bernie, I wonder on the first 2 options, like the holiday lights on the tree trunks, just a rough estimate. I think those are much less cost prohibitive, but I don't know dollars.
It's probably going to be about $30 to $50 for each tree, and we would have to run. It depends. If we go solar, we don't have to run power. If we go with power, then that's an added electricity cost. But just keep in mind that vandalism. Years ago, we tried putting garden with lights at the entry monuments, and every day they were vandalized. So every day we had to repair the actual electrical outlets.
I think people thought they were gifts that we had put out, and they were just picking
Potentially.
them up. Vandalized, I don't know if it was that or not. Thanks, Bernie.
Thank you for that, City Manager. Thank you so much, Bernie, for that presentation. Kind of curious. Sorry about that. Kind of curious about I think it's the banner poles with electricity. Those are the ones that are across this, similar to how we have our banners, correct?
No, we have one set of banner poles, but it doesn't have electricity, and that's where we put our car show or hazardous waste banner, just south on Florence on Garfield. So we'll be installing more of those and running power with an actual electrical meter for each and every one of those.
And for that one, we'd still have to ask Edison to.
For that one, we would just have to seek Edison for assistance with installing the meters. which again, it's a permit process, but it's doable.
Understood. Any members of the, I'd like to open it for discussion.
Yeah, in regards to the banner poles, let's say the poles without any electrical components onto it, would those be permanent, or can we allocate them, as we wish?
The actual banner poles would be permanent installations, and I'll go back to that slide. Here we go. So these are permanent poles. They're essentially traffic signal poles without the heads. You see, for example, the city of Commerce here, and then also the city of Cudahy. So those are permanent installations. They do last a very long time. They're just an expense up front, right?
And Bernie, those are different from the banner poles that we have here on Garfield.
They're a
just
different
south of-
option. Ours are more of a decorative type of pole, which is a little more expensive. For decorative fluted poles like that, we're probably looking at 120 to 140,000 per set. For just the typical steel pole, just rounded pole, that would be about 90 to 100,000 per set. That's a rough estimate. But as the city manager mentioned, we can work on costs. Econolight is my traffic signal contractor, and actually I already engaged them to give me a tighter, cost estimate.
And that would be a one-time fee just to kind of set it up, but then I know you talked about like maintenance and things like that, but
Correct.
that initial cost, that is roughly anywhere from 90 to 120,000 is a one-time fee.
Correct. So one-time fee, and then the recurring fee would be our electricity costs off of the meters. Now, some cities procure the decoration, other cities rent the decorations. I'm hearing that Cudahy, for example, hires a company, and the company installs them during the season and takes them out when they're done. So those are strictly rentals. With procurement, obviously, we would need storage for the decorations when it's not the season. So that's something, another alternative that we can consider as well.
Could we do a cost analysis to see what would the rental fee be versus the purchasing fee? And then kind of take it from there? Obviously, the poles, we can't do that. That would be like a one-time fee that we would have to inquire, but I'm talking about the lights
Yes.
on the poles, if we could look at that.
Yeah, we can do a cost analysis between the actual outright purchase versus the rental option.
Bernie, just to clarify, I mean, when I see on the left, the picture on the left there, it just looks very similar to what we already have over here on Garfield.
Correct.
Which, is kind of in the middle of town, but the purpose of the electricity is to do something more with the garlands and the lights. And
That's correct,
and
to
the
have that
wreaths.
extra effect at night, like the city of Huntington Park, Front Pacific, for example.
Otherwise, without the electricity, you could probably do the poles cheaper, but it's just going to hold a banner.
It's just
like
gonna
we
hold a
currently
banner
have.
like this, not lit, so it'll be visible during the day. At night, it might be hard to discern.
I know Bernie said, I love the banners that were put up for the holiday season, thank you, but I would love to see some lights. I was joking because I went down to Rosarito, and going down the boulevard to Rosarito, they had the lights during Christmas, and I'm like, BG really needs to have that, like, we need to bring that back, so.
Yeah, that's a nice feature, and some cities actually own street lights, and that's why they put string lights. City of Bellflower, for example, they own their downtown marble light poles, so they have string lights. Unfortunately, here we don't. They're all owned by Edison.
I'd be interested in seeing how much the amount was for like Cudahy, as Councilwoman Sanchez mentioned, and then also if we were to just make a one-time payment, we'd own essentially the decorations, right?
Correct.
With the intention that we can just put them up ourselves, or we can hire whoever's going to put them up. So
Yeah, and I've requested that cost info from Cudahy already. I'm just waiting for them to respond.
particularly with this example, the one that you're showing in the similar to the banner, obviously in the one in Cudahy and the one in Commerce, I'm curious to know how many did they have of those up? It seems like I'm thinking that one that you have on the screen. I remember driving through, I think it's Greenwood and Gage, where there's one of those, and it wasn't, that it didn't have a lot of lights, but it said, Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas or something like that. So I'm kind of curious. I don't think that, unless it's like a street like Pacific or maybe downtown Bellflower, where you would put one back to back to
One
back.
after the other. Cudahy has about 10 in a row. here on Atlantic, actually. But they look pretty old already, so they must have been there now for at least 30 years, if not more.
Any idea how much ballpark, like, the one-time payment of these decorations is?
I don't have an exact cost. They can range. I've seen anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 for one of these units here. So it all depends on how many lights, the decoration itself. So we can pick and choose as well when the time comes if the council wanted to study those options. So we could present different alternatives on what the actual decorations, so what the range is. $5,000 gets us this, $10,000 gets us that.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. I'd be interested in seeing even the little small ones. I mean, obviously, I would like the ones in the tree trunks because then we don't have to go to Edison. We do our own. We own the trees, and we have a lot of those. Like the decorations we did right outside City Hall, that was really nice with our tree right there. But if we've had issues in the past with people coming in or messing them up, I mean, I think probably the other ones that I can think of that might be a good idea is like it almost looked like they're like teardrops from directly. I think those are another good option. They're
That's
similar to
another
like
option.
little banners, but those are good too. Or maybe we could do a combination of those, and then include some of these big ones. And I'm thinking like in the entrances of Bell Gardens, particularly right, Eastern Florence, Eastern Gage, Gage and Garfield, and Gage and Eastern, something like that.
No, that would work. And also, depending on cost, we can do every other tree, maybe not every tree to begin with, and we can expand the program as budget builds over the years as well. That's another alternative too.
Perfect. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, so considering that we don't own any of the light poles, how feasible would it be to come into an agreement with Edison and, perhaps like adapt the current structure into, supplying electricity and, maybe down Florence, perhaps, just to provide.
We can engage them. At one point, they were offering to sell streetlights to municipalities. I don't know if it was offered here before my tenure began, but the city where I came from, they did offer for the city to procure. Now, I have reached out to Edison. They told me it's a peculiar request, but I have a couple planners already looking at my request to determine if this can be permitted.
Mayor, thank you for putting this together, and also thank you to the mayor for, with plenty of time in advance, start looking into beautifying our city for the holidays. I have a question about the trees. How much vandalism can we avoid with the lights? Because I really like the way lights look on trees when they wrap them around, but I'm also not very savvy on like how often those things get stolen and all that.
More often than not, the vandalism is because someone's trying to just charge a cellular phone, so they're trying to tap into the grid, essentially. For the most part, they'll leave the lights alone, so that's kind of the level of vandalism that we experience in that regard. We have put up, obviously, Christmas tree, holiday trees with lights, and the decorations, I don't know if my counterpart Liz can speak to that, but I don't think we've experienced any theft of lights or decorations. It's just trying to, again, tap into our electrical power so that they can charge electric devices.
It seems, I think back in 2019, we tried to buy non-professional grade type garlands, and we put them at the entry monuments throughout the city. I think we put poinsettias and some garlands, and there were like pretty significant amount of vandalism, I think, because they weren't in centralized locations. As Bernie mentioned, we usually have a police cruiser over by the police department, by Veterans Park, plus there's staff around and a lot of residents just walking, keeping an eye on things. And same thing here at City Hall, the police department's right next door. I think once we kind of get decentralized right on the edges is where we had issues. And then the things that weren't vandalized because we didn't buy $1,000 garlands, they were damaged even just by the wind and the rain. They just didn't hold up very well. So it ends up not looking very nice when you put stuff out like that. But I think that's always a challenge, and I don't think it's a reason not to do something necessarily. It just means you have to try to do it in a way that mitigates that potential that it's vandalized.
One last question, and I apologize if it was already presented. I might have missed it. For a large tree, and I know that's very general, how much are we talking about in terms of just wrapping the tree in the lights? I mean, I'm talking about the little lights that they're like a string and you wrap them around.
The estimate, 30 to 50, obviously for tree trunks, I would probably double it to get into the actual tree canopy itself. So potentially about $100 to $150 a unit.
I mean, just to share my opinion, I think a few of those trees will make a big difference out there. But, you know, I'm also not super excited about dropping $100,000 pole in too many places, but yeah.
I think it could definitely be like a mix, right? We could have some trees, and then perhaps maybe like the banner. I think is you know, something that says Happy Holidays, or we could even just say Merry Christmas, something like that. I think just when you're driving into the city, give that clear sign and of like that holiday cheer. I think that's big. But I'm open to the idea of having a mix with the tree trunks. That'd be a good. And maybe we can explore doing them. I think this is something the city manager and I talked about, is just doing them the center median. Right, because those are going to be more difficult for the folks that might want to come in and damage them or something.
Correct. It'll be more obvious that somebody's trying to, vandalize our infrastructure.
We could probably make sure that Captain Muskiz and the rest of the police department is keeping an eye on them. All right. Any more questions?
Not a question, but maybe just an idea. Seeing these numbers, it's pretty expensive, more than I thought it would be. But maybe in a way to mitigate costs and also increase community engagement, maybe we could allocate a certain portion of Florence where the senior medians are at. We could probably have a community decoration event where community members can come and decorate a designated tree, and and it'd be nice to showcase, as people are driving by down Florence, maybe probably put a name tag right on each tree, like, oh, family so and so decorated this tree. I think that would be one way to mitigate cost and increase engagement. Just an idea.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. So at this point, if there's a motion, we can make a motion, or
You don't need a motion,
You don't
just
need a
direction is given.
oh,
So-
we could just give direction. So I think Councilwoman De Leon Sanchez made a request.
Yes, I'd like to direct staff to please do a cost analysis of the rental of the lights as opposed to the purchasing of lights for the light poles, the trees, and then to see if we're able to get Edison to sell some of their light poles. And then I know there's a guesstimation right now on 90 to 100,000 per poles, but just to kind of see if we were to potentially place some of these throughout the city, like what would that look like? And it can be in stages. I don't say all at once, like let's do this, because it is extremely costly, but trying to bring some of the lights to our city. So
Perfect. Anybody else want to add something? Okay. All I would just briefly add is, and I've heard that some cities who do this, sometimes depending on what company they go with, sometimes the company's in charge of also storing them itself, because then that could be a big cost to us, because if every year it's costing us so and so money to keep them stored. I'm thinking that maybe we could do something, an MOU with like A1 Storage, and just say, hey, can you help us store these for a little bit? But if the analysis comes back and it seems like it's in the best interest to pursue just purchasing them, maybe if if whoever we're buying them from is also going to can also hold them for storage. So, yeah, thank you so much. All right. Moving right along, we will now move on to item number 11, City Council Successor Agency Member Comments, beginning with Council Member Barcena.
So happy Black History Month to everyone, and I just want to spread a message of inspiration. Let's, again, like I said at the last meeting, let's try to get the civic engagement going. I know that's very abstract, but I just think it's sad sometimes people don't have anything positive to say, and I feel like there's so many positive things going on in our city. just want to encourage. I need to do it myself, so I'm, I'm taking responsibility for myself, and I'm gonna try to get some residents to come out here, like as a community, right? So that we can hear what they have to say, because there's so much going on, so many concerns, but also so many positive things. And I feel like, we've done it in the past where we brought people to our council meetings. And I remember before I ran for council, that was one of the things that I envisioned. I envisioned like more vibrant council meetings, and that definitely did happen in so many different ways. But I feel like I need to give it another push, and anyone that wants to join, just hit me up, and we'll plan a little something. And thank you to my colleagues for dealing with difficult issues at these council meetings. Thank you for your support. Thank you for taking the time to look into issues that we have to work through, and I appreciate all of you. I appreciate staff. Thank you, staff, for all the work you do. Thank you for working together to plan ahead for things that are going to be great in our community, especially, for example, the decorations. I think that's important, and I appreciate staff coming together and bringing us options. And other than that, my heart goes out to all of our residents. Les quiero decir a los residentes de Bell Gardens que yo estoy con ustedes, toda la comunidad inmigrante. Yo estoy aquí para ayudarlos de cualquier manera que pueda. Y tenemos como dijo el manejador de la ciudad, tenemos un taller el miércoles en el Parque Veteranos. What time is that again? Is it at 6? A las 6 de la tarde tenemos un taller de inmigración donde nos van a dar tips y nos van a dar consejos de cómo manejar situaciones que desafortunadamente podemos encontrar con esta nueva administración de su presidentito. Bueno, de nuestro presidentito, ¿eh? Pero juntos vamos a poder defendernos mejor, así que por favor, allá los espero el miércoles a las 6 de la tarde en el Parque Veteranos para aprender cómo proteger a nuestras comunidades. Y también gracias a los concejales que apoyan estos programas y estas ideas. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman Barcena. Councilwoman Guillen?
Thank you to staff, city manager, thank you for all your work. To our mayor, thank you for bringing up the holiday decorations. In conversation, I mentioned with my colleagues, this is great, we always see other cities do it, why not Bell Gardens? So thank you for that. And I just wanted to highlight, we do have the Olympics coming up. I've seen, cities coming together, building they're calling it strategic roadmaps to presenting their initiatives with the pool. I know Councilmember Barcena has brought this up, but I would just like to highlight maybe we can start brainstorming what we're gonna do to rent it out, just to see that revenue coming in. And again, to our community, thank you. I know times are hard right now, but I do want to share, les quiero compartir que la ciudad tiene las tarjetitas rojas que tendremos en los eventos. Y nosotros como concejales los tenemos también, por si nos ven, nos pueden pedir una. Estamos aquí para servirles. Le quiero agradecer a la familia de mi compañero Miguel por acompañarnos. And again, I want to thank BGPD. You guys do so much. Thank you. I look forward to continue working with you.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman Guillen. Councilwoman De Leon Sanchez?
Just want to thank staff, for everything that you guys do. I also want to share that 13 cities went up to Sacramento last week to advocate for our Southeast Gateway line. This is a project that's been over 20 years in the making, and it's really important because a lot of our cities here in Southeast LA need that transportation. And although our city, Bell Gardens, may not have a station that line's going to stop, we have our neighboring cities. We have Cudahy, we have Downey, we have Southgate, that literally it's like a 5-minute walk from some of the ends of our cities to get there. So just continuing to make sure that we're working collectively as cities for the betterment of all Southeast Los Angeles. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman De Leon Sanchez. Mayor Pro Tem de la Rosa?
Thank you. son momentos muy turbulentos para nuestra comunidad, pero afortunadamente hemos creado recursos para nuestros residentes. Sé que aproximadamente 30% de nuestra comunidad está, ¿verdad? Está viviendo en una situación muy polarizada, ¿no? Y queremos asegurarles de que pues tienen nuestro apoyo y tenemos recursos en línea para poder ayudarlos en la mejor manera que podamos. I want to thank staff, city manager, and my colleagues for everyone's effort and the momentum that we have going on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem de la Rosa. As for my comments, again, want to echo all the sentiments of my colleagues, and I just appreciate everybody's hard work to make these council meetings function properly, the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes. I know City Manager, Legal, who are consistently, when it reaches last week and it's Thursday, believe me, I remember I meet with the City Manager on Wednesdays, and it seems like it's like 7 in the morning, and it's like the agenda's due at 8. So again, I just appreciate all the work that you're doing, City Manager. You've been doing a phenomenal job. Same thing with our legal counsel, has been really knocking it out of the park. So I appreciate it. And let's continue going with this momentum, right? Everybody who's here, who's made their efforts into ensuring that we have a peaceful, respectful, civilized council meeting. That means so much, right? And I'll echo the same sentiments that I said in the last meeting. We see it, we hear it, we know what's going on nationally, statewide, countywide, and perhaps maybe some of our nearby cities. But I'm very, very happy to see that that's not the case here in Bell Gardens, right? We're functioning, we're respectful, we're being civilized, and we're all doing what's best for our community and our residents. So again, let's continue going with that momentum. If there's anything we can do as a council to ensure that we can continue to get the job done alongside the leadership of our city manager and our legal counsel, you have our support. Want to make sure that's clear. You have our support. So again, thank you for everything. And with that said, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting if there's no objection by the members of the city council at 7:10 p.m. Thank you.